All right, I don't know about you guys, but it is very frustrating when a movie like this gets put in theaters and a movie like Turning Red gets put on streaming. And before we get to the review, guys, I do want to say right off the top, if you could please, at any point during the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell notification to be notified whenever I do new reviews like this one here. And of course, I always love engaging with you guys in the comments. So if you've seen the movie, if you haven't seen this movie, what are your thoughts on the movie? Leave those in the comments below. And without further ado, let's just get straight into talking about Strange World from Disney. All right, so Strange World is the new animated film from Disney, and it has not gotten a lot of great business over the Thanksgiving weekend. I saw it on Friday, thought about it for a couple days, and here I am finally getting around to doing my review for it. And, you know, the trailers, I thought made it interesting, like, oh, this could be a really fun, interesting, different kind of Disney movie. But the marketing did this film no favors. You really didn't know what the story was about. You really didn't get a sense of, a great sense of what this film was. And the fact that, like, I've heard people say that they thought this was just going straight to streaming made it very clear that the marketing for Disney in terms of this film were not great. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the box office stuff here in a second, but I do want to talk about the film itself. That's the whole point of doing a review. We're going to talk about the movie itself. The film is directed by Don Hall, who actually did one of my favorite movies from last year, Raya and the Last Dragon. Hall also helped direct. He did the Winnie the Pooh movie back in 2011. He was the co-director of Moana. He did Big Hero 6. So he's gotten some big Disney animated films under his belt. So with this one, I was actually very curious to see where this would go. I was actually kind of excited for it. It was kind of flying under the radar. And it's usually those films that exceed expectations and are actually a lot of fun to talk about. With this one, though, gotta admit, very bland. They kind of waste a great premise, which, it's kind of got this pulpy, like 1930s, 1920s adventure-esque feel to it. The way it opens up, it's very much in that style, and they kind of make it look like an old pulpy comic book at first, just going through your main characters, who starts off with a character named Jaeger Clade, voiced by Dennis Quaid, and his son Searcher Clade, voiced by Jake Gyllenhaal. They're like famous explorers in this city, this town, and they're trying to essentially help this town move away, or they're trying to find out what's beyond these mountains, essentially. So the whole point or the purpose of these guys is they're journeying out to find what's beyond these mountains, what's on the other side of these mountains. And they've had so many issues trying to get across these mountains, till one day Searcher and his father kind of have a falling out, and they choose different paths, and the two different paths branch off, and for years they don't speak, they don't see each other, and because of Searcher, he helps this city thrive on some discoveries he made on his own that weren't just exploring and going out into the unknown. He found something local to help the local city. And so they've kind of built their society around that in the 25 years that the time jump takes place. And then now he's got a son named Ethan. He's got a son. He's got a wife named Meridian, who's voiced by Gabrielle Union. And then the leader of this city or colony or whatever, voiced by Lucy Liu, is Castillo Mal. So a bunch of interesting, great characters. And I want to come back to Ethan, the son, in this movie, because a lot of people are going to come into this film with hearing about some of the choices they made with his character, and they're going to call this a woke movie. They're going to say it's just Disney just pushing an agenda. And guys, you need to get over it. Like, yes, Ethan's character is gay in the movie. He has a love interest that is a boy. And the fact that story, or that little chunk of the film, is literally 2 minutes, does not affect the rest of the movie. So I don't want to hear people saying this is Disney's woke BS agenda. Just stop it. It's a character who's in love with another character, and it's just a different motivation for him. It'd be no different than if Ethan was a girl in love with a guy, or if Ethan was a guy in love with a girl. It doesn't matter. It's love, and that's what he feels. Get over it. That's just who that character is, and it doesn't affect the story at all. So I don't get why people are all up in arms that, that they made this decision. Like, as a matter of fact, I think it's actually an interesting, cool decision. I thought it was very finally with the times that Disney is finally starting to get out there with that sort of stuff, but that is not a big part of the movie, so we're going to move on from it. So stop it. People tanking this movie or in the comments, writing that nasty stuff, just get out of here. You guys have no joy in your heart. You guys just get out of here. Anyway, so back to the film. So Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Searcher, has had problems with his dad, so he's really trying hard to make sure that he's got every possible connection with his son that he can. He tries to take up all, he tries to stay involved. He's very interested that Ethan likes this boy, so he's trying to, get the scoop on that, trying to be the very attentive father that he felt like his dad was not. But that, of course, causes different problems for Ethan, which means that he sees his dad as a bunch of stuff that's kind of not pushing him away, but is making him feel like he's not being as heard or as listened to as he would like to be, which is what Searcher felt with his dad. So you kind of have that, and that is essentially my biggest problem with this film, is that those relationships, the three generations and those differences, father and son differences, is a bit cliche. We've seen it before, and the fact that I was really looking forward, I thought Disney, or this film as it kept going, I thought they were going to take it in a different, more interesting direction, and they don't. It's very paint by numbers. It's very much you guess exactly what's going to happen, the realizations that these characters are going to come to at the end of the film. So those story arcs are, I'm not going to say hollow, but they're not fulfilling. It's where it's going. It goes exactly where you think it's going, and that's what makes it disappointing. Everything else, though, the visuals, the animation style's great. I really dug all of that. I thought the world, the mythology was very interesting, but it didn't really go anywhere. It wasn't as interesting as it could have been, and that's where this film falls flat, and it does bum me out that this was something that went into the theaters. I won't say it was lackluster, but it was definitely just kind of middle of the road, just kind of ho-hum. This could have been dumped on streaming, and I think a film like Turning Red, like I said in the opening, that's the type of film that deserves to be put in theaters, and got none of that. So I don't know what Disney's thinking. I know they got a whole bunch of stuff shifting, at the terms of their bosses, the CEO, all that stuff. We'll see if that has a trickle-down effect, in terms of how these movies are released. Finally, they started releasing the Pixar films, earlier, middle of this year, so hopefully that's all behind us. But yeah, it's a very bland, very middle-of-the-road movie for Disney. It very much bummed me out watching this, because I thought there was so much good stuff here, and even the voice cast, like Jake Gyllenhaal's in it, Dennis Quaid, as I mentioned, Gabrielle Union, Lucy Liu, great voice cast, but just kind of wasted. And I even think Jake Gyllenhaal, a lot of these actors, I won't say they overacted, because it's animation. I mean, come on, they're animated. They're supposed to be animated when they do their voices. But I just felt it was a little too much. I definitely don't think the dialogue was all that strong. I think their performances were fine, but yeah, maybe a little too over the top for my personal taste. But I definitely think younger kids and audiences might enjoy this a little more. It's getting positive buzz, so I at least can't say this is a train wreck. Where it is a train wreck is at the box office. Didn't make a whole lot of money over the 5-day weekend. Might be one of Disney's biggest bombs in a long time, which is kind of disappointing. You hate to see it, but the fact that they didn't market this movie at all kind of goes to show the kind of confidence they had in it. And in the end, I'm going to give this a solid C. Like, it was very much middle of the road, like I said, and all the stuff I liked was very much outweighed by stuff that I was just like, I saw this coming. This is predictable. What brought this to Disney's attention to make them follow through with producing this movie? It just, everything, it never hit home. And it just never succeeded in a lot of the stuff it was trying to aim for, which is fine, but, when it happens. But yeah, I'm never going to probably watch this again. It's just a ho-hum. I remember vaguely seeing this Disney movie at one point. Like, that's what this is going to end up being. So, yeah, guys, that's it. That's the review. You heard me do the spiel and stuff at the beginning of the movie, so I'm not going to go through it again. Trying to think the next thing I got coming. The next video I definitely have coming is my brother-in-law's annual birthday movie review, so be on the lookout for that later this week. And until next time, guys, I'll be seeing you.